Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video I'm going to give my final thoughts here on the 2021 Chevy Blazer and whether or not you should look into purchasing one of these. I've decided to give you guys some nice scenic views for today's video. So while I'm talking, I'm going to be driving up and down one of the beautiful canyons we have here in Utah, so you guys can get some nice beautiful scenery, and then obviously we can come to the conclusion of whether or not you should buy the Blazer. So let's get into it. So let's get into summing things up here with the 2021 Blazer, my final thoughts, and whether or not you should purchase one. I should probably turn down the AC so you guys can actually hear me. But first off, let's talk about the exterior styling on the Blazer. Obviously, that is going to be more on the subjective side. I definitely like the exterior styling because it looks like a Camaro SUV. I just think it's a really good looking SUV from every angle. And something that's interesting is it doesn't look that big on the outside, but then once you pop the inside, it's actually really big. It's, again, similar size to like a Jeep Grand Cherokee, but it really doesn't look like that from the exterior. But yeah, overall, I think the exterior styling is great. Now, it obviously does not pay homage to the Chevy Blazer name, and so a lot of people are kind of offended that this is called a Blazer, even though it's just kind of like a front-wheel drive sporty crossover, and I completely understand that, but you know what, let's get past that. Now, if we go from the exterior styling to the interior styling, I really like this interior. You've got a bunch of nice red accenting throughout. The seats are very comfortable, really nice leather all throughout with this RS package. And then it's got some cool stuff added to it. So for example, we've got the vents where you twist the vent itself to actually change the temperature. And I think that that is just a really cool feature to have in a vehicle. And then aside from that, it's got nice creature comforts. It's got dual zone climate. It has heated cooled seats, and it's got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, so you can hook up your phone, make the screen look like your phone. Really cool on the tech side of things, and just overall really good. And then in terms of space, it's actually really spacious. So if you guys don't know, I'm just a little bit under 6 foot. I guess I've like grown half an inch over the last year, which is kind of weird. But I fit in here perfectly fine. Like, I fit in the seats really well, and I don't feel like the roof of the car is too low. Like, you could definitely be a really tall person and fit in this very comfortably. And then aside from the space, the cargo space in the back also amazing. Like, it's got so much space in that trunk area. It's just fantastic. If we go to the driving dynamics, it's kind of a mixed bag. So when you have it in the two-wheel drive mode, it's front-wheel drive. So it sends all the power to the front wheels, obviously. And it drives like a front-wheel drive SUV. It's not exactly sporty or exciting. But when you pop it over into the sport mode, it goes into the all-wheel drive mode, sends power right to the front and the rear, and it really livens up this vehicle, and it does feel like a sporty SUV when you're in the sport mode. But when you're not in that sport mode, yeah, you'll get a little bit better fuel economy, but it just doesn't feel all that sporty. And then if we go from the driving dynamics itself with the different drive modes, handling on it's pretty good. I mean, hopefully this canyon road shows you guys like just how good the handling is with the Blazer. Pretty minimal on the body roll side of things. I guess the one downside is because they've made this kind of like a sportier SUV. Ground clearance isn't all that great, but I don't think people are buying this to really take it off-road. I think they're, you know, buying this to like commute back and forth to work and then have something that has all-wheel drive that can drive in the snow. But aside from that, if we pop to the engine and transmission, it's actually a pretty good combo. The 3.6 liter V6 has a decent amount of power, and the 9-speed automatic keeps it in the right gear all the time. And I mean, overall, again, they're a really good pairing. My only gripe, I guess I'd say, is obviously living here in Utah at higher elevation, you do get some power loss from a naturally aspirated engine. They do have a turbocharged option, so I guess that would kind of fix that. But aside from that, I feel like they should just give this more power. Like, they should just give us an option for a more powerful engine. I think that they should put the 5.3 V8, or even maybe go crazy and put the 6.2 V8, something that has a little bit more power in it, so that we got a little bit more pep in our step with this Blazer RS. Because again, it does a decent job with the acceleration, but I feel like this chassis and everything could handle a little bit more. And I think that people would go for it because, I mean, if you look at like the Grand Cherokee, you have the 5.7 Hemi and the 6.4 Hemi, and people buy both of those. And I mean, I think that people would buy this with a 5.3 V8. I mean, let me know in the comment section below if I'm just, you know, completely stupid and moronic with my idea, but I think people would actually buy this car with a 5.3 V8 or with the 6.2 V8, and it would kind of make people feel a little bit less annoyed with the fact that this is called a Blazer if it was, you know, a higher performance, if there was a higher performance variant with it. And so I guess that's kind of my only gripe, is they don't really offer a higher performance variant. But aside from that, if we talk about other stuff with it, like highway and city, and I mentioned this in my review, it's comfortable in both of them. Suspension's really nice and soft. It soaks up everything pretty well. It's just like most other modern SUVs. It's a really great daily driver. And so overall, it's a really solid vehicle. And, well, should you buy one or not? And it really depends. So first off, from a pricing perspective, I feel like it's priced pretty well. $48,000 is the sticker price of this particular one, and it's got stuff like the camera mirror. This one doesn't have a sunroof, but other than that, it's pretty fully loaded with tech. And I think that that's a pretty good value, because if you look at, again, I know I'm talking about the Grand Cherokee a lot, but that's kind of like the #1 competitor against this. A Grand Cherokee of a similar MSRP is probably not going to have as much tech as what this has from a safety tech standpoint. So I think it's a pretty good value, and that Grand Cherokee would have their V6. So overall, I feel like it's a pretty good value. I guess coming into this, you just need to have the proper expectation, I guess is the best way for me to put it. If you're buying this expecting it to be like the old Blazer, it's not that. What this is a really good daily driver SUV that also has all-wheel drive, so you've got that all-weather, all-season practicality. But on top of that, it's got a ton of storage space. It's very comfortable. It gets pretty good fuel economy. I've been averaging like low to mid 20s with this, driving it around. So it gets pretty good fuel economy. It looks sporty on the outside, right? It's got decent road presence, especially in this silver color. I think it looks pretty cool with the contrast between the silver and the black. But yeah, it's not necessarily anything super unique, but it's just a really good package overall. It comes with a lot for a pretty decent price for what you're getting. And so I guess if you're just looking for a really good all-around SUV, and I mean, if you have kids, I think this is a great SUV to have if you have like 2 kids, because you can very comfortably fit 2 kids in those back seats, and then you have a ton of trunk storage for all your stuff if you go on road trips and all that. And so if you're a smaller family, I think this is a great SUV, again, because of the practicality. And also, I mean, it's kind of something like a little bit unique, right? If your kids are into cars, then this is the Camaro SUV, and it literally looks like a Camaro SUV. And so it would be kind of something fun to have for the whole family. And so, yeah, I mean, hopefully that helps you guys out. I guess that's just kind of, it's kind of hard with this. Like, it's not necessarily like crazy exciting or over the top in any particular thing, but it's not bad either. Like, I think too many people are too harsh on this SUV. I think it's just, it's really good, but it's not anything exciting is what I would say. It gets the job done. I think that's the best way to put it, is it gets the job done. And yeah, that's all. That's going to sum things up for my final impressions here with the 2021 Chevy Blazer RS.